So if you are familiar with kinetic lighting systems, then you're probably familiar with the current best industry standard. That's this one right here, the current best industry standard, a rather generic box, a bunch of controls from whoever manufactures them, a load of cables, some zip ties, wagos, glands, holes. About 4 hours of your time goes into this box, and I gotta tell you, it's quite painful. So let's get rid of that one and let's look at a solution which I am sure is going to deliver that in under an hour due to the number of different features that I've innovated into the Lighthouse control system. Let's take a look. So here is the Lighthouse system. This is built around kinetic technology, which of course the aim here is to install into a property in a much easier, quicker, more professional and more reliable way. And what you'll notice here is actually it's just a plastic box like the one that we've already been installing. It has an enclosure. This is a purpose-built enclosure and it has a lid on the front. The thing with this lid is it can be removed. As easy as that. Now there is a securing fixing at the bottom just to stop the fascia cover coming off. That is literally there just to make the whole thing look a bit pretty, and of course protect the controls underneath from any kind of impact or abrasion. And what you'll see here, you'll notice that there's 4 main key elements that I'm going to describe to you and walk you through. And these 4 innovations include the first one at the bottom, which is an isolator switch. As you'll know, in conventional wiring systems that include kinetic wireless controls, there is no form of isolation unless the installing engineer or the electrician fits them. Of course, if you don't have local isolation, you need to go down to the consumer unit to turn the box off. In this case, we can just simply turn this off, kill the power, and it's safe to work on. It means that you don't have to go find the consumer unit, which is very convenient, very handy. There's a socket outlet here too. The socket outlet has primarily been installed for your convenience, the electrician's convenience. They can plug something into this, a socket and C, a Martindale. They can even plug in their multifunction tester and get them a loop test very easily. This will at least establish whether or not the lighting circuit that supplies the Lighthouse system does in fact have an earth, what the loop test is. And it's a good indication which can be done in seconds. And it doesn't mean that you have to expose yourself to any connections like you would on a conventional lighting circuit. The second innovation here, you'll see that there is an internal barrier. The internal barrier is being fitted on here to quite literally still make it available to touch the controls, which you can do through the apertures that exist on the plastic. But it also means that you're protected from any cables and connections which exist inside the purpose-built housing unit, which behind the cover you'll now have a lot of kinetic wireless receivers, which have all been professionally pre-wired. That's of course protecting the user, which now means that with this plastic barrier in place, you don't need to be skilled to be able to access the packs. Previously, with the housing units that we've been installing as the industry's best practice, you take the lid off, you're exposed to connections, single insulated cables, and a whole load of other equipment that's in there. This way, with just the fascia cover removed, everyone is still completely safe and you're still able to operate these packs. You're able to program them, connect them, do whatever you wish. It doesn't require an electrician to do so, which means for the first time ever, you can have confidence knowing that sending a handyman out to pair up these switches for your customer, your tenant, is completely achievable. And they don't need to have any electrical qualifications or experience at all. Which is a really fantastic feature of the Lighthouse system. So the third core innovation, which is the one that I really need to explain to you, is what I'm calling a bypass device. Now, of course, bypassing simply means that you're bypassing the controls that are built into the Lighthouse unit. And this has come about because of one major flaw in the current best practice that we've been doing, and that is that in order to carry out our electrical testing, a bypass is required between the permanent supply and the switched live coming out of the receivers, so that you can carry out an R1, R2, and in the instance of a dimmable pack, if the pack is on and the light is on, the load is on, you will get a higher earth loop reading because it goes through a dimming circuit. What we want to do is give you a true reading. What we want to do is make it possible for you to take an R1, R2 reading, which is safer. And in order to do that, we need to take out the live and the switch line in conventional wireless lighting control setups. In this setup with the Lighthouse, you simply hit the switch, it takes the permanent live and it connects it directly to the outgoing live that goes off to the bank of lights of which these ones control. This is a bypass. It allows you to take your reading. It gives you a true value. It's just a regular two-way switch. You have an L1, you have an L2, and you have a common. In this instance, the common is used as the load. The L1 is your permanent supply. The L2 is your RF controlled supply, which goes onto that one. So depending on the position of the switch will depend on whether or not the load is connected directly to the permanent live or whether it's connected to the RF controlled live. This of course allows you to do that testing and to get your true reading on the ZS in the instance that the circuit is live and up, and this one is a dimmable circuit, so you can still get a true reading of what ZS is. Now of course, having all of this built in, it does mean that we have to somehow tether the building's wiring that the electrician has installed into these radio frequency packs. Now, as you know, current best practice stipulates that we use a big box, which the electrician will then pair up and fit and run all the cables and all of the control gear goes in there. And these wires connect directly to the pack. Of course, this isn't possible with my Lighthouse system, as the Lighthouse system doesn't give you access to these packs unless, of course, you start dismantling it all. So in order to make sure that you can still connect up to these packs, we've put a little intermediary in there for you. At the top of that, it's the fourth innovation that makes actually installing this very, very fast. A rapid fit connection unit. This allows us to connect the building's wiring very quickly onto the Lighthouse system. Why? Well, because behind there, what you'll see is a series of Wago 221 tool-free lever connector, which gives you the ability to connect all of your CPCs quickly and your neutrals equally as fast. And what about the switch lines? In fact, there's 8, and I've also made it possible that there's a permanent live at the connection end as well. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drop this cover off and I'm going to show you what it looks like so that you can see how these wires tether up to the Lighthouse system and really get an idea for how much time it's going to save you on site when you're fitting this kind of equipment. Now, what you may have noticed is I've actually turned the power off. I can do that very easily. I just turn the isolator off, which means for this demonstration, the Lighthouse unit is in fact safe. I don't have to run down to the consumer unit to turn it off. Simply flipping the switch will kill the power here. It's a double pole device. And of course, it now means that the circuit's isolated. Up there at the top left, you will notice that there's an emergency light. That's come on because it's connected to the Lighthouse system. So that in the event of a power failure, if in the case this is the only lighting control unit which is in the property, in the building, and the power does go off, you're not left without any lighting, simply because the emergency light will come on in the event of a power failure or in the event that one of these here, of course, cuts the power. You can also fit a fuse connection unit there with a 1362 fuse in a fuse connection unit. So if that fuse was to blow, it would turn the circuit off, the emergency light would come on, you'd still have light, you could still come out here and you could still see the Lighthouse in the event that all the lights have gone off. But up here then you can see in the rapid fit connection unit, which I've built into the Lighthouse system, you'll see a parade of Wago 221 series lever connectors. They do our earth. And then we've got the same again for the neutrals. Just below that one, just here, you'll see that we've got a load of inline cable splices. Inline cable splices are quite simply a means of connecting your building's wiring to the Lighthouse wiring in a very, very quick and effective way. So simply just pop them in there, close the lever down, make sure it's locked into place, and your connection for that bank of lights that you're choosing to control has now been terminated into the Lighthouse system in a matter of minutes. And do that 8 times, you will get change from 60 minutes, I'm sure. So what you'll notice here is that the sheer speed that can be achieved from installing this system is quite profound. And not to mention the fact that it's already pre-wired for you all you need to do, hook the thing up, connect it to the power and switch the thing on. And what I'm going to show you next is how we go about pairing up the various different controls with the wireless receivers that are in the Lighthouse system.